G'day and welcome to Videodrome Cinema. Here are some exciting and fun facts about the film Alien Resurrection. Though a lot of people think that this is maybe the weakest in the franchise, it ended up being just as successful as the rest of them. The budget was $75 million. Worldwide it made $160 million. But of course with the DVD and the Blu-ray it's made a bunch more since then. This was the first Alien film in the franchise that was filmed completely in the States. In the director's chair, we could have had Danny Boyle, but they ended up not being able to come to an agreement with him. Apparently they asked Peter Jackson, but he turned down the project. There was also the possibility of having Bryan Singer, who was just coming into his own at the time. Then the studio had the wild idea that maybe they'd get David Cronenberg to direct the film, but because of the creative differences, that's why they ended up with Jeunet. This was interesting because at the time, the director didn't speak a word of English. He actually had to use translators on set to actually do the film. This wasn't such a big problem because the visual effects team and his crew were people he brought with him, and there was a few French actors in the film too. During the early planning stage, the character of the Doctor could have gone to Bill Murray or William H. Macy. Jeunet ended up saying no to this. There also might have been an Asian role in the film that Chow Yun-fat would have played, but he didn't end up in the film at all. The studio would have liked Angelina Jolie for Cole's character, but she ended up saying no. And that's when they ended up going with Winona Ryder, who actually begged for the role because she loves the Alien franchise. It's an interesting fact to know that for the fourth part, Giger isn't actually credited, for which he did sue the studio and did get a huge settlement. For the DVD and the Blu-ray release, the studio did correct this error. One of the early ideas was that the lead of the film would have been cloned from Newt, and that Ripley's character wouldn't be in it at all. Fox didn't want a version like this. They thought that Sigourney Weaver was a must for the fourth part. So with no regard to money, they spent $11 million to get her on board. So the first time Fox saw the end product, they really weren't too pleased. They mainly had problems with the strange sexual tension between Ripley and the alien. They really lobbied to have these parts cut out of the film. Sigourney Weaver was actually the one who said that if you do end up cutting these scenes, then she's not going to take part in any of the promotion for the film. During shooting, one of the most interesting parts, and the most expensive, was the underwater scenes. They spent 2-3 weeks getting ready for it, and it really wasn't easy. One of the reasons being that Winona Ryder was scared under the water, and they actually had to pour milk into the water to make it kind of more thick, blurry, because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to shoot the scenes. At the end of the film, when the alien hybrid leaves the ship through a hole, this wasn't a new idea because for the original film, there was a script version where the alien would have died in a similar way, but they didn't end up using it there. They just got the idea for this one from that. Sigourney Weaver actually practiced for 2 weeks for the basketball scene. In the end, she was throwing 3-pointers better than Shaquille O'Neal, even though only every third of her shot actually went in. When they actually filmed the scene and the director said action, she got it in the first try. But everyone started laughing because they couldn't believe it, so they had to do it again. Learning from the hardships that came about during the filming of the third part, when the script was done and Jeunet said yes to directing it, then the studio actually said yes to Jeunet's demand that he be able to change things in the script. Things we know about changes he made was that some of the characters were defined differently and some of them were even left out. Of course, all of these changes aren't open to public knowledge. Something we do know though is that the alien hybrid, according to the original version of the script, would have been more alien. It would have had 4 legs and it would be kind of like this bony thing with a bunch of like veins on its head. Yeah, so Jeunet ended up changing that completely. Actually, in an interview, the screenwriter said that though he doesn't hate the 4th part, and he does actually kind of like it, it's just that Jeunet kind of changed the entire concept from his original screenplay, and he ended up changing it so much that the end product doesn't even resemble the original thing that he wrote. So these are the interesting and fun facts that I found for Alien Resurrection. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Come back and visit us soon. Click on the subscribe button and don't forget to click the notifications so you can be aware of when we post new videos. Thanks. Bye.